Welcome to Lockbox, a podcast providing real estate professionals with action items for success. My name is Jeffrey Brogger, and I'm going to be your host. I'm the founder of two real estate marketing and tech companies, STEEZY.Digital and realnurture.io. In this podcast, you'll learn from top 1% real estate and mortgage brokers the exact secrets to their success. Welcome to Lockbox. Welcome to Lockbox. My name is Jeff Brogger, and I am here with Suneet Agarwal. Suneet, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Excited to be here, man.
Yeah. So why don't you tell our listeners first who you are and where you're from?
Sure. Well, as you said so great, Suneet Agarwal here in Sacramento, California, all over NorCal. I own Big Block Realty North. It's a brokerage here in Sacramento. And then I have my sales team that has an equally hard name of Best Sac Homes Group. So there's lots of names going around the Best Sac Homes Group. However, we are the number one mega team in the state of California for 2020. 2021 comes out in a few months, and that should be in the bag, but we'll see. Sometimes there's a sleeper that pops up, but number one for 2020.
Amazing. And we will get into transaction volume and all the tips in a minute. But what got you into real estate?
So it's funny, right? I was in college up in Chico, California, go Wildcats. I was going to college, business management and information systems. And then the dot-com bubble crashed and I didn't really know what I was going to do. So I was doing like door-to-door business sales in Sacramento, and it was terrible. And I'm going to lunch at like Togo's, and I see this dude that I grew up with. He's like, "What are you doing? Wearing a suit, walking around Sacramento in like 110?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "I'm working at AmeriQuest, which was a big subprime mortgage lender, and they had hundreds, if not 1,000 people here in Sacramento." So that was my first foray into real estate, was on the mortgage side in the subprime boom. And I started doing super well. Rose the ranks, went to another company, did super well, rose the ranks, ran a couple offices, and then the mortgage market kind of burst, real estate burst. So now we're in two bursts so far, right? And there was a lot of struggles, and I got out of real estate. I got completely out and kind of just went on and did some other stuff for 4 or 5 years and was sitting around. You know, I ran a consulting company, had some nonprofit healthcare businesses. And in 2013, one of my buddies called me. He goes, "Man, what are you doing?" You know, I had a good amount of money, but I was not really hustling, and I was young. He said, "You should get back into real estate. I made $450,000 last year." I said, "Well, that's nice, but I said I would never do real estate again." He's all, "No, not as mortgage, but be an agent." I was like, "Huh." So I became an agent, and I started working for old school Coldwell Banker office with some great leadership and great agents, but a different vibe than what I was used to. Like, I was a techie, salesy guy, and they were like more old school agents. And you guys get it, all the listeners, like you guys know the difference. And I don't even get into it. And went out of there, went to Keller, which was more techie and more forward thinking at the time here in Sacramento. I loved both those organizations, got heavy into coaching. Like, as far as I got recruited to be a coach for a different organization. I got heavy into Lab Coat Agents, which is a great free Facebook group for realtors. If you don't know, you should have Tristan Ahumada on here. If you haven't yet. Okay, cool. Tristan is my big bro, although I think I'm 6 months older. But he taught me a bunch, kind of sent me on the right way. And, I decided I was going to open up my own brokerage. That's always been my thing. Like, I want something and I won't be able to get it, so I just open it. And I opened up my own brokerage. My team had been around, and then it's always been really hard, thoughtful work. And, I think the team's been around for 5 years, the brokerage 3 years, and, number one in the state after me really only getting my real estate license full time 7 years ago. I'm proud of those things.
That's awesome. And a great story from saying, nope, never doing real estate again, kind of getting burned with building up a lot and then having it all collapse. I had a buddy who was on the lending side during the subprime crisis and or before it. And, he's like in his late teens, early 20s, like had $1 million house. Like he was just making so much money and then lost everything. And so I can definitely empathize with that. But then your buddy said, hey, look, the agent side's pretty sweet right now. Yeah. And, from 13 to today, what a run, right? Totally. So amazing market run, great timing to get back in. And I'm curious what your transaction volume was last year. And then I have a few follow-up questions.
So I think, I don't know when it gets this high and we're number one, I don't even look anymore. I just know that we beat the number two by a lot, like 50% or something. I think it was like 660 or 670 or something like that, which we far surpassed this year. So those are sides. And, dude, I don't know the volume at all. I could look it up by the time this is ready to add it to the notes. I don't know the volume. I know that for volume, we were number 8 in the state for volume, but number 1 for units, because all the teams in Malibu and San Diego, they spanked me on volume, right? But we were number 1 in units.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. 670 sides is nothing to shake a stick at. So, wow. I mean, with that being said, what advice would you give to a real estate broker who obviously is already killing it at 100 units, 200 units, 300 units in California with the pricing we have here, but then they still want more, right? They want to level up to 400 units or 500. Like, is there a specific lever that they could pull to get to that next level? What should they be focusing on?
So you want to know what the secret is?
Yeah, man.
The quickest way to scale and to grow your market share and your sales volume and your unit count, it's a big secret. Okay. So all the listeners and viewers get real close, but it's people, right? Is you have to recruit and you have to hire incredible staff as well. And if you focus on the people, the big numbers will come. The environment will be what you want it to be, meaning culture and just the culture and the services that you offer. It's always going to start with people.
Makes sense. I mean, the adage goes, fire fast, hire slow, right? But you want a good pipeline of recruits, because if you don't surround yourself with great people, a bad hire, last minute, underpaid is going to cost you so much more than filling your pipeline with good recruits, paying them top dollar, and they can then take you to the moon and accomplish your dreams, right?
Well, I mean, that's like two sides, right? Like hire fast, fire slow.
No, opposite.
Excuse me.
Hire slow, fire fast.
Hire slow, fire fast. I think that's really true with staff and employees. But if you're recruiting and you're bringing on agents into your organization, which if you want to be a successful team leader, a broker owner, you have to be doing, or you're missing the entire boat. I don't think that adage necessarily is going to apply, right? Because people are in real estate for different reasons in different points of their lives. There's hobbyists, right? There's full-time people that want to do real estate for additional income. There's, spouses who their significant other makes a ton of money and the spouse just wants to have some fun and make a couple extra bucks. There's the new agent. There's that agent out the door. So I think flexibility is important there. I mean, if you really want to win, you can't put people, especially independent contractors, into a box, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. When you're talking about the difference between, staff, like admin, like employees, yeah, maybe that adage applies. But I like how you challenge that as well and say, well, with your independent contractors, though, with your agents, the reason why I'm sure you got into coaching is because you see how you can take someone from an average agent with no vision and, some drive, but they don't really have like a plan in place for exactly how many phone calls they need to make in order to achieve their income goal. And you can help them really distill that down. And all of a sudden, boom, they see the yellow brick road, it's like, oh, wow, like I see it now. And through that coaching, then you can take them to the next level and take them to become someone that they probably never even thought they could be. So that does make sense.
Yeah. I mean, just you need somebody to believe in you, even if it's not yourself, right?
Right. Yeah. Borrow some confidence.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, throughout your journey, what has been the single most important action that you've taken on a daily basis that has attributed most to your success? This podcast is really about actions, and would love to hear the answer to that question from you.
So I'm going to give you like a big macro view, and it's going to be so textbook, it's going to piss off half the people that are listening, which is my intention. No, I'm just kidding. Like I'm textbook, guys. Like I read good books always. I listen to great podcasts, right? Podcasts early on were a huge part of my business. I just devoured my favorite real estate podcasts, right? Back when I first started, devoured them. I listened to them all day. I don't think I listened to any music, which if you're watching, you can see the guitars back here. It pains me not to listen to music. But I just did content and books, did all the Audible books, right? Which is a great selection. I hung out in the right environment and people that I wanted to be like. I studied things that were interesting, right? And I really just did the textbook stuff. I elevated rooms that I would go to. I started out at, the basic free conferences to the $150 conferences to the, tens of thousands of dollars yearly masterminds. And those things just elevated everything about my professional and personal life. So really textbook answer.
And you invested in yourself, right?
Dude,
that's the answer.
Yeah.
That's a common theme amongst top producers. Darren Hardy talks about his coach told him to invest 10% of his income every year back into himself. And that gets difficult when you start making more money. When you're making $1 million a year, that means you need to try and figure out a way to spend $100,000 on personal development if you commit to that. So yes. I mean, it's a very common theme among top producers to continue investing in yourself. So that's a great answer and a great reminder. Now,
Darren Hardy is where it all got started for me too. I love the compound effect. Like that book is the truth.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And he was a real estate professional.
He was right up here in the Bay Area. Yep. He was out there knocking on expireds. Yep.
And I like his process of chunking. Like if he's going to do prospecting for 21 days, he's just going to do nothing but prospecting. And then after that, the next 21 days, he's going to figure out one thing that's most important in his business and do it. And, when he's growing a team, instead of taking a recruiting call or taking one interview, for 21 days, he would only recruit. And then he had a huge pipeline. And then, I really like that concept of single tasking and really focusing on what's the most important goal over the next 3 weeks and just crushing it. So, he said through that, his results were, 10x of anyone else because they're starting and stopping and doing so many things where they didn't have that focus.
If you can get away with that, all power to you. I got 5 businesses and I got to multitask all day long.
No, I know. Me too. But I try and single task, block and tackle my calendar. So, right now this podcast, I'm here right now. I'm not having to check emails and do that. And then boom, the next thing, boom, the next thing, boom, the next thing. So I'm very scheduled, and I'm sure you are too. Every 15 minutes, it's a new thing. And it's, I'm logging into a new email or a different account or this or
Yes.
So
you got to have a tight schedule, something that any coaching, any basic self-development coaching organization will tell you first, whether it's the one thing from Keller Williams or whatever, your schedule is it's got to be dialed.
What's your calendar look like?
It's dialed. It's in 3 places. Plus I write it down every day too. I copy it from my phone and put it on paper just so I get that connection to it.
Yep, absolutely. So 670 sites. What percentage was referral to new business? Do you have that, those stats?
I don't know, man. I could look, but like I said, I would have to ask my accounting and they would have to ask me to do something I don't know.
Well, something you might know, which is really the follow-up question to that is, what systems do you have in place to increase the amount of referrals that you do get?
So, we're a heavy lead team and the referrals just come. I was looking the other day and so we do lead source, are self-generated, right? And self-generated, I'm not looking at referrals because I think that, for us, that's a big enough bucket for what it is, right? I mean, I'm a heavy lead team, so referrals, great, but I get our agents' phones ring off the hook with inbound opportunities. Our ISAs are setting over 400 additional appointments every month, right? So I think just the amount of volume we do and everything in those ways. Could I focus more on referrals? I think, but we're doing pretty damn good right now. So, maybe I should be diverse, but I think that our system being a lead team is really working well.
Well, clearly. And that's fascinating to me because many agents are 80% referrals, right? Or 50% referrals, or, hey, I don't do any leads. So many agents say that to me. And when I talk to you and I talk to Tristan, it's like the opposite. Like 80% is inbound lead generation, Facebook ads, Google PPC, going to an ISA, getting called immediately, getting set to an appointment immediately from cold traffic in their local area. And those are the mega teams that are having success with that and doing it right and doing it really well. And, with that being said, do you have like a number one most profitable lead generation source that,
So I'm the Zillow broker partner in Northern California. There's only like 26 of us in the country. There's 20 some odd in the country. And I love Zillow. I think those are the best leads on the planet. We do other Realtor.com. I think Realtor.com is great. We do all the same stuff as Tristan, the White Lopo, which I great. Those guys are smart. You should have Howard on here if you haven't yet. Other PPC from other sources. I have a ton of listings. So our sign calls are really robust, like a lot of sign calls. Dude, every online or every marketing thing, we track those numbers and they come in and they go to the ISAs or go to the agents and it's working.
Yeah. So you have the metrics, but something that you're not like looking at every single second and just rattling off answers. You have so many systems in place at this point that, right, like everything's working kind of thing.
Everything's working. Yeah. I mean, I looked at my ISA met rate this morning out of curiosity to see what an average was. And, that was eye-opening.
Met rate? So what do you mean by that? What's that metric?
So when an ISA sets an appointment, how often does that appointment actually happen?
Got it. Okay. What's the number?
So this one particular ISA, it was 60%, which I think is good, right?
It's really good.
When you set an appointment, the people show up 60% of the time, more than half.
Yeah, I think that's good. And a typical metric that you would put for that would be like a 50%. It's like, assume a 50% show. So 60, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the average of my ISAs is like 66. So this guy being a 60, he's in there, right? Yeah. He's not too deviated off. So that's a metric I looked at today, right? That is something that I can work on to dig into to see how we can make that better.
Right. Absolutely.
It's like those little sales, the KPIs around all these sales are really, for me, leads into the more coachable moments. Right? Like you're an ISA, you got 20 calls. Well, I hope, you set 13, 14 appointments. And of those, I hope at least half showed up. Right? So that way you can really pinpoint where the weakness in the process is. Was the ISA able to set an appointment with this average appointment rate? Yes or no? Right? If yes, great. If no, well, then we need to work on the phone, the skills on the phone. Does the appointment show up? Yes or no? If yes, great. If no, well, then we need to work on the confirmation of the appointment and maybe that handoff from the ISA to the agent, right? How often after they meet do they write an offer for that person, right? Well, then if it's, at some percentage, and I don't know what it is for us right now offhand, if it's some percentage, great. If it's not, maybe the buyer presentation or the agent being assertive enough in that initial meeting is off, right? And then out of how many offers did you write, did they actually go into escrow? Well, maybe you're writing crappy offers, right?
And then you're looking at these KPIs so that you can see which part of the customer journey needs to be enhanced in order to sell more homes.
Yeah, and smarter people than me made all that up, but I just live it a lot. So
right. Where do you think the industry is heading? What are your 5-10 year projections?
I have no clue, dude. Zero. You're like the 10th person to ask me today. What I do know is what the market's like right now.
Okay.
Right. And we're going to always bust our ass today. Right. I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Hopefully more opportunities for all the hardworking agents out there. Right. But I don't know. People ask me all day, especially my own agents, what's going to happen? I don't know. Work hard today.
So let me ask you this. What are you doing to set yourself up for future success then? I mean, work hard today, of course. But, is there anything you're kind of future proofing for your business?
Just adding additional types of businesses, ancillaries, always work on the ancillaries. So you're not just dependent on one stream of real estate to happen, right? So always work on ancillaries. And back to the beginning, keep on recruiting, right? Like keep getting people. You have a lot of people, you won't lose just by percentages, right? Like if you have half the agents, you're going to do half the deals. Ta-da!
Yeah, when you put it like that, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So do you know how you're leveraging digital marketing with your listings to generate more leads? Do you have any insight in the strategies there?
Sure. So, we do Facebook ads, YouTube, Instagram for, I list a couple houses every day. So it's not all of them, but we do Facebook ads on all of it. We post, we have relationships with the portals. So we post them all there. And even if we didn't have relationships, they'll still get posted there. And just organic and also paid ads always. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you handle that in-house? Is there an agency in particular that's helping you with that? You mentioned Ylopo and a couple other people.
Ylopo does that for us. KV Core does it for us. We do it in-house. We use Sierra for it sometimes because we have all these systems. We just kind of see what will happen if we go this route compared to this route and just see what the results are.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And is there anything that you do for your clients that nobody else in the industry does that you know of?
No, I'm not original. I didn't make anything up, right? I just copied other people who I saw were, crushing it. I mean, for me, if you want to stand out, you need to have a USP, right? A unique sales proposition. And those kind of things really give value to your consumer, right? When you say to client, we're going to just go ahead and I'm going to assume that it's for the consumer, right? Because lots of brokerage owners and team leaders like me, is the client the consumer or is the client the agent? But for the consumer, you really have to have these USPs, right? Some people have a love it or leave it program. Some people have a guaranteed sale program, right? And these are the things that'll make you stick out. Are we the only ones that do them? Absolutely not. But do all the top organizations usually have a USP? In my experience, yes.
Great piece of advice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier,
USP.
you mentioned earlier a lot of books. So what are 1 to 3 books that have greatly influenced your life or career?
Good. Yes. Everybody viewing and listening, go get Creating Sales Velocity by Matthew Ferry. Tom Ferry's brother, Mike Ferry's other son, Creating Sales Velocity. And listen to it. Don't read it. Because the entire time, Matt Ferry, who's also reading the book and on the Audible, is dropping neuro-linguistic programming on you. And he's the G at that. He's the man. So listen to that book. And when you're done, listen to it again and then give it to every agent that you know. It'll definitely help with your sales skills and your listening skills, which is equally as important, right? So get Creating Sales Velocity. In kind of that same vein, right? I also like The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, right? Like The Secret's a good one. Like you can manifest a lot of stuff if you believe it, or maybe I'm just hokey and full of it, but I like The Secret. I think that you can make stuff happen. Compound effect, since we already talked about that, I'm going to leave that one off. What's another one I like? Oh, so I'm going to give you two more. Is I really like Tim Grover's books, Relentless and Winning. If you guys don't know who Tim Grover is, he was Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's like personal coach, and his books are killer. I'm a real big fan of those two.
Awesome. So good. Love those. And I have a few more books that I need to go out and read.
Creating Sales Velocity. You got to listen to it, dude. Listen to it.
Yeah. And I'm an audiobook guy. You're a music audio guy, so that makes sense. Are there any quotes you live by?
No.
Okay.
No. Maybe there's, I don't know. Like every morning in my little journal, it has a quote in it. And I just kind of read that quote first thing in the morning. Like this morning was something by Jim Rohn. What did he say? Control the day or the day will control you. And I'm sure that's some OG like Jim Rohn thing. And Jim Rohn is also a stud in the personal development space.
Yep.
So that was my quote part of the day.
Awesome. And what's one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? A lot of our guests say something that's non-monetary. So I'm curious if you have something that's like the best investment ever.
Peloton.
I see it back there.
You guys want a discount code? Hit me up.
Yeah, drop the affiliate link. Yeah, so Peloton has been great. Even pre-COVID, my sister had one and she loves it. Single mom, she's able to get in a workout, and for the busy professional, it's awesome for cardio. So
yeah, well, they have weights and other stuff on there too on the app. You can do like all kinds of stuff. They have a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So what bad recommendations do you hear given to real estate professionals?
Oh man, I don't even know.
Do we have enough time?
Yeah, there's so much. I would just be, to all the viewers and listeners, I would just be really careful who and what you listen to, because there's a lot of people who have never done the things that you want to do, who are going to fill you with a lot of useless advice, which is basically hearsay, right? Like, so I would be careful on just who you listen to and really base it on their experience, right?
Okay.
You might be in a transaction and an agent on the other side says, well, I've been doing this for 20 years. And I want to say, but dude, like you sold 8 houses. Like, I don't give a crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, great. I sold 8 houses yesterday. So I would just be careful in general of who you listen to.
Great advice. With 5 things going on at all times, what is your process for evaluating what to say no to?
I don't know if I have a process or I'm just really good at leveraging things out.
Okay.
Right? Like if there's something that needs to happen and I don't have time as fast as I want to have time, I'm lucky enough to be in a situation where I have great staff and executive management where I can say, hey, sales manager, go hop on these 3 things, right? Or, hey, branch manager, go hop on these 3 things. So I guess when I evaluate stuff, I really try to think of it as something that I want and like to do, right? Like, will it be playing with leads, right? Like, looking at the systems, working on the sales process, that stuff I like. Will it be coaching, some top team from the other side of the country, right? Like those kind of things make me feel good. If it's, doing like a meeting to launch some new, like something that really doesn't excite me, I'm going to put somebody else on that. So I'm a big guy on task management, and I just like vomit out ideas on my Monday board and just assign it. Like, you do this, you do this, you do this. And the intention is for me to just do what I enjoy.
That's a great intention. And I like that process of just Monday board, boom, just vomit out everything and then just start circling and assigning stuff.
Yeah. Monday board is it. Like, I lay in bed at the end of the night, I'll drop 10 tasks in here and assign one to this manager, assign one to this manager, and check back in a couple of days to see if it's done, and it is great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I would tell everybody, if you're not using some kind of task management software, even if it's a Google Doc, Google Sheet, like you should really have a place for yourself to be able to see everything that's going in your head, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most influenced your life and improved it?
I think a lot of people in real estate can really fall into a slippery slope of like being a party agent, happy hours, out there partying. And, I think that while there's a great place for you to do that, I think it's also important to like know your fundamentals and like we were saying, invest in yourself. I've seen too many agents just become like booze hounds, right, man? And just go to every happy hour, start drinking at the office at lunch, and then they don't sell shit, right? And then their family suffers, or So I think knowing the time and place for that is something that has changed my life in all aspects. And getting a Peloton.
Nice. Both healthy decisions. I love it.
Yes. And healthy, I mean, for your head too, right? And like for your energy, you're pissed off, you're stressed out about a deal. You wake up, some clients doing something, some agents doing something. Get a savage workout in. Yep. You'll feel better, right? Don't go with every happy hour because you're blowing Friday then. And Friday, how many Fridays are you going to blow in your professional life before it starts to impact the amount of money that you make? So just, I would just be conscious of these decisions and take care of yourself. Eat good food, take vitamins, be good to yourself, and it'll pay off in your business.
All great recommendations that resonate with me. I'm big into biohacking in the sense of just fueling your body. I mean, we have this amazing machine. It's like we were granted whatever the supercar is for you, Ferrari, Bugatti, Tesla, whatever it is for you, we were granted that, born with it. And if you go put 86 octane fuel into it, that should go in a lawnmower, it's not going to run to its optimal potential. So fuel your body, get rest, right? Like all the things that create the baseline of your physiology for success. So you have vitality, energy, focus. You can come through and you're articulate and your mind is firing on all cylinders. Yeah, I'm a big on that. So
energy is important, like especially in leadership and sales. Like you aren't going to be able to sell anything if you're tired.
Yep.
And you got to like portray some kind of enthusiasm always, like especially if you're like persuading people or just having good converse, leading people. So yeah, the energy part is massive, bro. For sure.
It really is. It really is. Hey, is there a question I should have asked you, or would you like to elaborate on anything from earlier?
No, man. I think you did good. You get a good range of questions.
Thank you. How can listeners contact you?
So go to my Instagram, Suneet, SUNEET _Agarwal, AGARWAL. And the number is 916, Suneet _Agarwal, 916. That's my Instagram handle, and that's the best place. There'll be links to my YouTube there. We post content 5 days a week on YouTube, new original content 5 days a week. It's a massive undertaking, but all those links are on my Instagram, so it should be pretty easy to find. There's me, and there's Indian doctor in Massachusetts. So I'm not the doctor, but if you want to Google Suneet Agarwal, but I'm the realtor in Sacramento.
That's right. Suneet Agarwal, realtor in Sacramento. I almost said San Diego. That's where I'm from. Realtor in Sacramento and #1 team in California. Killing it out there, doing great things, massive in lead generation, systems and people. And so many brokers out there need to hear this episode. You dropped a lot of knowledge, insights, and I really appreciate having you on. Thank you for your time.
Man. Thanks for the opportunity. Good times.
Thank you for listening. If you want to accomplish your real estate goals, then I highly suggest downloading my free Ultimate Real Estate Goal Setting Framework. The link is in the description of the show, and it will help you break down your annual income goal into the amount of phone calls, appointments, or open houses you need in order to achieve that goal. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.